Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am currently finishing up my breakfast because we had a late start today. So if Rach and Maggie, you want to introduce yourselves, that would be awesome.
Oh, I guess I'll go. I'm Rachel D. Adams, part of the partnership of Rachel D. Adams and Don McClellan, who write urban fantasy and paranormal romance in two separate series. We have, I think Dawn is in the Dawn is in the chat, and we are here to uh, provide you with our experience and hopefully help you out with any of your publishing stuff that's going on.
Hello, lovelies. I am Mama Maggie Ward, independent author, stroke survivor, migraine overcomer, and I have books. I published 2 books this month because why not? Well, we had a book last month during the whole thing, so yeah, the whole writing conference. So, why not? Just why not?
Yeah.
So, yes. Hello, I have books. Please buy them. Currently, my best-selling book right now is The Spartan Chimera, which is my AU Greek mythology. So yeah, I'm here for things and the chatting and the questioning and the we are not professionals, but this is what
No.
we've learned slogging through that indie author life because coffee and words are what fuel us.
Exactly. So, for those of you who may not know, welcome to my channel. I'm writer Sam Wicker, and this is Breaking the Block, where writers help writers. And she has my book. Hey, look at that.
It came in this week.
Yay! Thank you for buying. We all have books up here, so if you would like to check out all the things that we have, make sure to hit up the description box down below. And let's go ahead and pop in and say hi to everybody. We got Dawn, Cat Paw, Maggie pulling double duty. We got Eva, Rach pulling double duty. We got Devin and Sarah. And Eva is excited to get back into writing. I bet. I am glad that you are feeling better too. All right. So, it's not only us that can answer the questions that are going to pop up on screen. Those of you in chat who, have your own opinions may share them as well. Like Maggie said, we are not professionals. We try. You might get some answers that just don't work for you, and that's okay. We try. Jenna, lucky about while dealing with finally getting my car back from a family friend who kept it 3 times long. Ooh, nope.
Never do business with friends and family. Just a thing that I've learned.
Yeah. Ooh, Eva's got a good question. Maggie, what genres are your stories in again?
Yes, hello. I'm a hashtag genre slut, and Eva even made me a mug that said so. I pretty much write in almost everything except horror. And so yeah, I write in Greek myth. I write in adult women's, in contemporary fiction. I write in sci-fi fantasy. I write in science fiction. I write in fantasy. I am working on my first like a K-drama, C-drama kind of a story for the 85K90 called The Moon is Waxing. Yes, I write in a lot of different things. So,
yeah, genre
and,
slut.
yeah, interestingly enough, I am going to be on Jenna's stream this evening for romance writers.
Yep.
I am not a romance writer. Rachel
Well,
is more of a romance writer than I am. Sam, is more of a romance writer than I am. I mean, I have romantic elements in my stories, but I guess Pagosa Cliffs could
They look
be.
like romance, honestly. I mean,
They have
they
romance.
sound.
Well, this one is, I think, the most. This one is it's romance, but it's more like overcomer fiction. It's more
I
like
really
people
love that.
overcoming. Windswept Stars, though, this one really is like a romance because Tank is chasing down Miranda like he's hunting criminals. And so, yeah, this one, I guess Windswept Stars is technically the most romance of all of them. Um, Blue Butterflies, yeah, I guess it's romance because Camille, but it's more about Camille and Kyle like trying to repair their broken romance because they have, yeah, 15 years ago, things happened. Her sister, his brother both died. They haven't spoken since. So they do, there is a happily ever after. This is my HEA, but yeah, it's I got the books. I got the
Your
many books.
Ghost with Cats is more romantic than most of the others that I've read of yours.
This one,
Yes.
yeah, Ghost with Cats. It does have, it's more adventure than romance, but
Mm.
it is romance. There is some romance in it. It's an alien romance.
Hey, Laura.
Ancient aliens and all of that, yeah. But I have romantic elements. Hello, Laura.
Hi.
Laura's also writing a romance right now between fallen angels.
Vampires.
Vampires. Okay. Wasn't there a fallen angel one? Or is it just the names that makes me think fallen angels? Lucifer
Victor's
and
ex is Satan himself.
that's it. That's it. Okay.
Okay. Laura, you want to go ahead and intro yourself?
Sure. Here we go. I am Laura Nettles. I have a horror collection out called Tiny Shivers, and I have been condensing my beta reader feedback on Crimson Strings Draft 1 so that I can get Draft 2 going. And I got bitten by Plot Bunny and now have chapter 1 written on my project Eros, where it is Eros, Greek mythology character, cursed with humanity and forced to be in a mafia to do matchmaking for them, and the girl that falls for him. So, yeah, it's interesting. We'll see what happens.
It does sound interesting.
Mafia matchmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We have a couple of questions that were left over from last time, and I think the time before that too, because there was like 5 or 6 questions, and we just didn't have time to get all of them. So this one, did we go over this one? I don't think we did. When you decide that the project you're working on just isn't the one anymore, what factors into that decision for you?
We kind of talked about taking breaks from projects to try
Yeah.
to refine your passion for them, but we did not go straight into this one.
Okay, good. Didn't want to completely lose my mind there.
Let me get my visuals.
I was like, too late. Too late.
One
Jenna
visual.
says that she needs your book, Laura.
2 visuals. Okay. Come on, get out of there.
When do you
So,
decide that the project you're working on just isn't the one anymore?
mm,
Trying to digest it.
I
Yeah.
kind of went through this when I was doing the Revelation night because There was a gap, and I needed books to publish. This was when I was first starting with the publishing house, and then they had ended up there was a thing, and so I needed to publish some books to fill in the gap, and the first two Revelation Night, the Revelation of Ash, and the Ravers were the two that I had ready to go, but I hadn't finished book three. And then I published them, and then the pandy hit, and I was sidetracked with Relic of Time, and I was sidetracked with Pagosa Cliffs. And then when I came back to finish um, Elm, there was a whole thing of I could not write it without putting the pandy because it was contemporary. I couldn't write it. I kept finding myself putting pandemic protocols in it. Like she escaped the bad guys because she was wearing a mask. And I'm like, oh, wait, the pandy didn't happen in this world. Or something else happened. Like she escaped into the protest march for the Occupy and BLM movements. Oh, wait, those didn't happen in this world. And so it was really, I mean, it was like I almost shelved the whole series. And then I finally just went back to my absolute original plan for that. And then I finished writing it out. And now it's like I've got the two of the books up there. And the two of them kind of end on we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to, they're in a safe place. They can just stay there and stay hidden, but they really need to stop before there's another terrorist attack. They really need to leave their safe haven to stop it. And it's unfortunately the only way that I could end that book was the way that everyone says, never, never, ever, ever end your book this way. And it's like, well, there is no other way out. The end of the book is the main character. She sacrifices herself to save her child as kind of this redemption arc because she wasn't able to save her older two children on the Revelation Night in chapter 2 of the first book. So yeah, but I was ready to just toss the whole project. I have had projects where like there were projects that I started for NaNoWriMo. I know we no longer speak of the Nano. There is no Mo Nano. But I've been like 5 or 10 days into that writing challenge and been like, nope, I can't do this project. This project is not going to work. And the thing is I think for me, I can put things on the back burner and come back to them usually, but sometimes there's just things that I'm like there's a book called Scarlet Charlotte and the Alphas Lunas Omegas Rejected Rogue Cousin that is basically every bad werewolf teenager dystopia trope rolled into one Monty Python-esque adventure. And literally, I realized something after, because the outlines for it, I keep trying to write it, and I realized something that due to the woke movement, I will never, ever, ever be able to publish this book because while it's satire and there's absolutely hysterical things in it, someone will get offended. And so it was for that book, it was a context. It was a context thing. I can't write this book. I have to just toss the whole thing because they'll come for me with pitchforks. And I live in the country, so pitchforks are very easy to find.
I get that feeling because that's going to happen whenever I write the epic, and that's probably the reason why I haven't written it yet. Well, one of the reasons why I haven't written it yet.
I have to also give for what Dawn wrote into the chat comments. It's about the same thing. We'll start on something, and then if we just get to a point where one of us is just like, Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about, what to do next as far as a character is concerned. Or, it just feels like it's dragging and you're kind of bored with it. Well, if you're bored with it, everybody else is going to get bored with it when they read it. So stop, just stop, and then we'll come back to it later. I have a filing system in Google that I use that I know where to go back to things and pick up later when we want to do that. And it's already saved. And then I don't know, it's like the stuff that we're writing right now and that we're publishing right now, I have no idea what the future is when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to stop because it's what we do. After this, will I possibly go into more of a fantasy realm? Maybe, but I'm not going to stop publishing this series either. So,
Gotcha.
So my first book that I wrote is Souls of Atua, which is a YA sci-fi. I did 3 drafts, and it is now permanently shelved. It is about a girl who has a near-death experience and can therefore see spirits. And there is a whole murder that goes down, and she needs to figure out who did it because it wasn't her. And it takes place in a colony of Samoa on a different planet under the ocean in a giant snail shell where the snail moves them along the bottom of the ocean. So like I can't find Samoan beta readers in whatchamacallit, sensitivity readers. So it's like I would probably need to completely rejig and rewrite it so that it's not an Earth colony out there and make it an alien culture and everything like that. So that has overwhelmed me, and I just have shelved it. So this is like the first of 5 books, but so I have come at an impasse until I can find beta readers. But also that was the first book I wrote, and I have improved greatly since then. So it's like, do I want to put in the work to try and fixer-upper this thing? Probably not. So yeah, that one. I also was getting ideas for things to do to the book that would completely change it. And I was like, that sounds like a different book I should be writing, not changing this one into that one. So it's like, yeah, it's time to move on. So there's that. My Seeds of Doubt middle grade is currently being queried.
love the cover.
I made it in Canva.
Nice.
She's a plant lady. So, yeah. So that one is current in my ability to write, and I really like it. And so it's like, if it doesn't get picked up, do I hang on to it and keep trying to get traditionally published in adult and then see if I can swing a middle grade deal after I've established my name and get it published? Because it's really hard to get a middle grade debut horror in the market. I watched Lindsay Puckett's videos going over the industry, and it's a very small percentage of horror, and it's a small percentage of debuts, and it's like, the odds are stacked against me. But if, like, do I take the plunge and self-publish it, or do I hang on to it and try and get it as an option later in traditional? So it's like, I don't know, but I like it.
I mean, the trends could change a little bit. I don't know. Middle grade is such a weird beast. um, but honestly, I love indie publishing, so I'm like, indie publish it, just get it out there. But that's just me. Let's see. So Devin says deadlines for my current series pretty much bumped my Arthurian and steampunk down the list, but they will not be going away. Pretty cool. Dawn says on my bucket list is to finish my horror story when I have time. Gotta have that first though, and it's just for myself. Awesome.
I enjoy sharing my stories too much to not share them. Like try and submit them somewhere.
Oh, that's totally me. I am always like, I'm like that. That's the reason like people on Inkit get to see my alpha drafts because I'm just like, look what I'm writing. That might be because I started on Wattpad though. That totally might be because I started on Wattpad, and I like the feedback. I mean, I get the feedback from the middle all the time. She's like, next chapter, next chapter.
Yeah, I started on fanfiction.net.
Yeah, and it's fun to throw it up there, and it's that's where we all get that drug from, that writing drug. It's like that's why it becomes. This is how you end up with over 1 million words unedited. It's really, really go away. So the animals have been trapped inside because of the super frigid weather. And it's supposed to get up to like 45 degrees today. And the minute it is that temperature, everybody goes outside. Everyone. Okay, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Fanfiction writers for the win.
Yes. Hell yeah. I mean, it's a dual high. For us, it was, we were always collaborating with other authors on ours. So it was fan fiction. So you get that high, and then you get the high of, oh, they responded. Let me go read it so that I can then figure out what my character is going to do. So it was kind of a double high. And yeah, that's why I keep wanting to go back to try and publish like the serial fiction and the extra content and stuff, because I guess I'm searching for that high, but finding the right platform's been a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it definitely has.
Yeah, like I have a erotic romance that I have been writing. I'm like 17.5K into it, and I stopped because it's like I don't know where I can publish this. So like I was gonna go with Ream, and then Ream blew up. I was like, dang it! So, but they seem to have collected themselves, so I might give them a shot.
For erotica, I understand that it's probably a really good place to do it.
Yeah,
Literotica.
Mm-hmm.
So
is a site that I know authors on.
That too.
So my problem is it has knife play, which is against Amazon's terms of service, even though it's in some books on there. I don't want to get banned.
Right.
So it's like, so I think I'm going to have to go with Ream, but having somebody beta read it right now and seeing their comments come in has been starting to kindle the fire again for that story. And it's like, they're enjoying it. And they said that they're standing on a mountaintop with a flag and a knife threatening me to finish it. So consensually threatening me to finish it. So it's like, okay.
I'm keeping mine on there until they get rid of mine. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to any of the platforms, if they're already on, it's staying on until somebody says, no, you can't do that. So
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, there's some of the stuff that I've read is a lot more, erotic than anything we've written and released. So it's not that big of a deal. But to
But
Eva's
they have
point, I have researched it. James is researching it. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. So I give props to the people who created Ream. It's just that there was lots. I think that the fact that they're younger and there's a lot of drama that went on and stuff like that is what really uh, imploded. But
Yeah.
the fact that they put in that much work to make the actual platform, props, because once we started looking into the possibility of making something like that, that's a lot of work.
The coding and the server management and stuff alone is,
Security too.
yeah, because it's like how many times over the last 10 years has Wattpad been hacked, had their entire database downloaded, and it's all shown up
And the security was the third strike for me. Not
on
not
on
that not that things got not that things got shared that shouldn't have been shared, although yeah, it did, but not in a way that most people think of when it's talking about security. It was more of a, hey, this shouldn't have been available to people unless it was like behind a paywall or something, and yet it was right there for everybody. So people that would normally just be there for fantasy got to see all the other stuff too, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's a huge undertaking, but at the same time I'm like, but until you guys figure that out, I'm not going to put my stuff up there.
Yeah. I've left my stuff up there until I publish it, and then I take it down. So we're slowly getting away from there. But yeah. Uh, Angel Face says the moment that I'm deleting most of the pages and see that it doesn't excite me anymore is when she puts it down. Um, let's see. Yeah, the muse refuses to talk to the story. Yeah, all that good stuff. Eva's collecting stories on her trident or pitchfork.
So here's what's really weird, Mama Maggie. Because of where I was raised and how I was raised, things that I wanted to talk about and things that I wanted to write, especially like sort of memoir wise, actually would be very relevant right now. So I'm kind of like that's on the side burner now because I didn't think I was going to do it for a long time, but now I'm like, it's relevant, so it might actually sell.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the reason with that is um because it's got that Monty Python red green like satirical sexist tropist humor in it, that yeah, no, it the original form of it, like literally it's like there's a scene in it with the were chihuahuas.
You don't think that it might be like
and
Firefly
and
and become kind of a cult classic?
no, I literally, okay, so
Where chihuahuas, y'all.
Yeah,
some of the
for real.
people that were reading some of the people that were reading the chapters were hysterically laughing. And there was, well, okay, so the deal with the most deadly and terrible pack ever, Emperors of the Moon pack, is they are in the Everdark and Death Forest. These huge pack names for these little tiny were chihuahuas. And
I'm dying.
every month on the night before the full moon, everybody goes out and somebody in the kingdom draws the lucky golden straw, and so they have to hold the golden ladder so the king can climb up the ladder and pee at the top of the tree.
I need this book.
And
I need this book.
and he decides that he wants Scarlet Charlotte, who your wolf color is your first name, and then your name is your surname is first, so your wolf color. And she has always pretended to be Scarlet Brown because the Scarlet Wolves are from the Beauty and the Beast world lineage. And so they're considered the ultimate royal wolf. And the fact that her mother is Belle and her father is Beast and she is a scarlet wolf, they have been dyeing her fur brown since she was a little girl so that no one would know she was a scarlet wolf
Oh gosh.
because wars have been fought for less. And so unless if she has a choice because her best friend is Weiss Lars, and he is the princess's betrothed, and he is the son of the great white wolf knight. And because the princess thinks he's a stable boy, she's an amber fur. She's like, I can't marry a stable boy. And then, like on the betrothal night, she finds out that she rejects him, and then afterwards finds out that he's a white wolf from the lineage of the White Knights. And so he runs off because he's heartbroken. And Scarlet like has to fight to try to save them. And at the banquet, there's a witch there, and the princess's grandfather is like, "Wait, let's do this." And the queen tells the witch, "Put the old dog to sleep." And the witch is like, "Are you certain?" Because when you put an old dog to sleep, so the witch accidentally kills the grandfather in the middle of the banquet, and Scarlet shows that she's a scarlet wolf because Charlotte's trying to save him, and then she's given a choice to marry Prince Vane. So you know how he is.
Oh my god, I love it.
She has 1 year to find Lars and bring him back, or she has to marry Prince Vane and become the royal concubine.
Oh my god. I love
So yeah, there is so much in this that I just had to scrap the whole thing.
No. Give it to us.
And I
Please.
put parts of
Please.
I put parts of it into Daisy the Werecow.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I had to take out the part of the Were-Chihuahuas because the blessed golden showers are not something you want in.
There are people like us that would just we would buy it. But you gosh.
I mean, okay,
Also,
if there can be
also, here's another thing though. Here's another thing that I had to take out is okay, so Charlotte the Wolf's soulmate is one of the feline cat warriors. So all the witches, her traveling companion is Winnie the Witch, and Winnie is constantly anorexic and on diets and starving herself because in order to have access to true witch magic, you can only weigh as much as a duck. So she like sells everything they own to buy like duckweed soup in one town and stuff like that and strands them. She's always doing crazy stuff because she's literally so weak that she like can't even cast sparkles, and this is how the witch elite keeps the younger witches unpowered because like you have to have energy to have magic. And
Right.
so but they've convinced the younger generation of witches through basically witch talk that the only way you can reach your true enlightenment and true power is to starve yourself nearly to death.
Why isn't this an anime?
And so yeah, there's all of that. The other thing is because Mrs. Fluffykins is a calico warrior cat. She thought his dangles were tumors and had them removed. So in order for Charlotte and Mrs. Fluffykins to have babies, she has to compete in the marathon for the brass balls. And beat out all these other women who are trying to get brass balls.
Okay, yes. I second Jenna's notion. This needs to be an anime and it needs to be written like one.
Or a manga. Allies of the Were-Bulldogs and they run a kitten rescue. Shut up. I can't write this story.
Yes, you can. I mean, if they can put a vampire Pomeranian in Blade Trinity, you can write this book. I mean, come on. I had to stop that movie so I could laugh cry for like 30 minutes on the vampire Pomeranian.
Yes, Eva, this is one of my story worlds, and I put part of it into I'll send you Daisy the Workout, the rough draft, the very rough, unimproved draft of Daisy the Workout.
Dawn said that she would be the voice. She would offer her voice for the anime.
Oh my god, no!
Or
I
you could
cannot.
read the book. You could do the book voice. Have you heard
I
Dawn's
can't.
voice?
Dawn has a lovely voice. I
Yes.
cannot start writing this. I have
You
too
know.
many projects. I have 10 books to publish this year. I cannot. I could
Well,
not
maybe
write
not this
Scarlet
year.
Charlotte and the Alphas, Lunas, Omegas rejected rogue cousin.
Maybe not this year, but like at
Did
least.
you know that those
Yeah,
are
in the
the
future.
most common words in Wattpad vampire or Wattpad werewolf books? Those Scarlet, Charlotte are the two most common names. Alphas, Lunas, Omegas rejected rogue are the most common titles for Wattpad werewolf novels.
So they're keywords too.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically the entire title is keywords, except for the word cousin,
Dude, yeah.
because Lars's cousin is the Luna's Omega servant. So yeah, why are we still talking about this?
Because
I'm
it's
so
great.
embarrassed.
You started it,
I'm
by the
so
way.
embarrassed that I wrote real chihuahuas climbing up trees to pee on the top of them.
That's the scene I want. That.
Yes. And just,
You know how
okay.
many times I've been peed on by those dogs?
And the fact that you can, especially if it's like an anime, the shifting from like, I don't know, big burly men to itty bitty chihuahua.
Yeah.
No, they don't. They shift into dwarf. Basically, someone who has dwarfism. That's why they have to climb up the ladders to pee on the top of the trees, so it looks like giant werewolves live in this forest instead of the seven dwarves and Charlotte.
Good point.
Oh my god. Okay. So, if anything, you could probably put that story on Tapas because the stories I've read on Tapas are crazy. I love them.
Yeah, but no. So the idea of completely offending everyone is the reason that I gutted and threw that main story away.
I thought Tapas was only for like web novel or webtoons.
Oh no,
They have
regular
novels
books
on there
and
too.
they have novels on there too.
Mm.
Yes.
They about 5 years ago they started putting novels.
Mm. And if you put a novel on there, you're more than likely going to get an artist interested in your work, and that's where like the comic manga side comes in. You
Working
they
together.
love it enough to draw for you.
What's their content guidelines for erotic romance? Do you know?
They don't do erotica, I don't think, because I haven't seen. They just now added 18 plus, so
They do have a mature section.
Yeah, it might be becoming more popular. I don't know.
I'm just looking at it and I'm like, yeah.
All right. So before we go back to were chihuahuas and other were things,
I have were emus, were cows, you name it. I've got were everything. The Great Plague happened. I have were everything, which is why Daisy is so unusual because she was bitten by a minotaur and she didn't want to have a human. She liked being a cow.
So I think
And
your
her-
wares
and-
need to get in with my vampires because I have vampire everythings.
And the wicked queen, who is Prince Tarian's mother, is mad because she doesn't want a common heifer for a daughter-in-law.
I can't.
I told you with the house fire.
Is she vegetarian as her human counterpart?
She tries to be. She really does, because her father and brothers were
Oh God,
taken away.
Eva.
Her father, yeah, yeah. She won't. She won't. There's a lot of things that she's like. Once she finds out where they came from, she's like, nope. And and yeah. The other thing is because she's a Jersey cow, she's got beautiful brown eyes,
Yeah.
and she ends up in a Selkie village working as a maid, and all of the silky males, which seals silky males, all the Selkie males are like, "You're so beautiful. You have the prettiest eyes."
I can't. I'm Don. I'm not. Mm-mm.
Oh, oh my goodness.
Let's see. Jenna says we mentioned fan fiction earlier. A big thing in that realm is crossover writing among authors. Is there an author you would want to write for fun in the fan newsletter crossovers with, and who is it? Everybody here.
Well, when I was writing the Ghost with series, Ghost with Cats, I was actually talking with Clive Cussler, and that was he really encouraged me.
Are we talking about like regular authors that you would like to do crossover fan fiction with, or I don't know.
So I think it's like your
I would love
characters
to-
meeting their characters kind of fanfic.
Yeah.
I would I have I have a character in the Ghost with series called Pops that is basically Clive Cussler inserts himself like Stan Lee did in all the Marvel movies. Clive Cussler inserted himself into all of his books as this old wandering character. Sometimes he's a barkeep, sometimes he's just a traveler, sometimes he's a writer that's or photographer. He's just an old guy in a really nice antique car, and yeah, that shows up in my series, and he was fine with it. He was like that I think that's really sweet that you put me in here as a tribute. But yeah, it's he was the one. I would love to have written something with Anne McCaffrey because I'm just such a huge fan of hers.
Well, I know that like Jenna and I were talking about that we should get Frey and Cineas together from those books and do like a crossover thing. That would be fun. And then as far as like authors that are out there, I mean, I would say if I had the chance to write with some of my favorites, that would be great. I know that after I got to started reading Laurel K. Hamilton's stuff, I was like, oh yeah, that would be cool. You know, if we could do some of the characters and do fan fiction. And I guess for fantasy, one of my favorites is R.A. Salvatore, and he's just very down to earth. But at the same time, Ed Greenwood was fun. So I could imagine that so much better because he comes up with fantastic ideas that you don't ever actually see. Like he doesn't publish all of his ideas, and he used to publish like a book a month. So I would have liked to have gotten with him on some of his fantastic side ideas to do some fanfics. That'd be fun.
Yeah. If the sky's the limit, I wouldn't mind writing with Brandon Sanderson or Travis Baudry, the lattes, cafe lattes or whatever.
Legends and lattes.
But yeah, that one. I can't thank y'all. I need more coffee. But yeah, I really think that AuthorTube just needs to get together and somebody starts with a scene and we all jump in and write our own scenes to follow up and then we publish it as an anthology. But that's just me.
It worked in when they had the War of the Drow for was it WotC by then? I think it was WotC by then. It used to be TSR, and there was a transition period, and then they decided, hey, we're going to have this huge shift with all the pantheon, and for the Dark Elves, they have 3 specific gods that they were dealing with, and an entity, and so Salvatore got together because it was his idea, his setting, so to speak, that started it all. And then he had like 5 other authors do this entire series, and they were just hopping, one author after another. And it was actually pretty good. The twists and turns, because and the fact that they could keep the characters true to them, to the characters, even though it was a different author, was pretty amazing to me. So it would be a fun idea, actually.
Oh yeah. Dawn says that she's up for crossovers, especially with Bastion. Sherilyn Kenyon, that would be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
J.R. Ward. On the 3rd coffee, yeah.
I need another one. I've only had one. Looking at my empty cup.
I think if I was doing like a vampire crossover for Crimson Strings, it would be S.T. Gibson with A Dowry of Blood, possibly Savage Blooms, but that's not out yet, so I'm not quite sure yet. It's pre-ordered. If I'm doing horror and it's prose, it would probably be Felix Blackwell, who did Stolen Tongues. If it could be adapted, Junji Ito. So if we could do a collab that way, that would be amazing. Yeah. It would be really cool to do it with Kazuo Umez, but I'm pretty sure he's dead. So he's like the godfather of horror anime or manga. Yeah. When was he even born?
I think it would be fun to do like one of my crazier worlds with like Mercedes Lackey.
He died last year.
I know.
Wait, Kazuo Umez died last year. He was born in 1936.
Yeah. He was like almost 90. But yeah, the eldest was upset when he passed away. He's like, no, and I was like, it's so old.
I have Cat Eye Boy. I have The Drifting Classroom. I have Orichi. Yeah, like his stuff is pretty darn amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, it's. I mean, who would you want to ghostwrite? Who would you want to write with that? That's just like it's like there's so many.
So
and to be honest, there are some authors I would like to write with, but I would not want to be in the same room with them as a person. If that makes sense. Love their stuff. Not the authors so much.
If I could co-write, it would be S.T. Gibson. And I would also love to work with Anna, who is the Ent Hugger online. I've read some of her stuff, and she's a fantastic human being. She should make videos. Anyway, she's amazing. One of her books that I was reading that she's already co-writing with somebody else is a romance about a bogman and an environmental researcher. It is Chef's kiss. It's literary and just over the top and amazing.
So it's literary Swamp Thing?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That
so
sounds awesome.
I love it. I need that one too. As for this, I'm slowly building my Discord, and one of the channels on my Discord will be for Breaking the Block, and another one will be for Character Randomizer, and another one will be for the under 1K marathon, and so on and so forth. So it is coming. It's just I got to learn Discord a little bit more before I feel comfortable sharing it and inviting people. But yeah.
I believe her story is called The Bogman's Embrace. But it's a male-male romance, you know.
Hey.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Okay. So here's another question from the chatters. Angel asks, has someone ever tried working on 4 novels on the same week or a month?
Not novels, short stories, yes.
Gotcha.
4 projects at once, and it's like, what are you doing?
I didn't get very far, that's for sure. Like I would float between them and not get very far on any of them because my brain wouldn't move from one project to the other. Now I can go, it's much easier for me to go to nonfiction projects and then back to a fiction, or maybe 2 fiction projects at one time and then nonfiction. That's easier for me, for my brain. But yeah, when I try to do 4, actually I think it was 5 at the time. If you count that I was also doing fan fiction on a forum, and that fan fiction, I mean, we were serious collaborators. So it was nothing to wind up posting at least 1,000 words every other day, and so that took up quite a lot of time and brain space. So
I tried that. Like, there was a update update your whips weekly challenge on Wattpad a few years ago, and I had 3 active whips at the time, and so I was trying to do a different world like every other day, and I found that I had world bleed. And if you don't know what world bleed is when you're writing or reading one world and it's literally just going like this into your other projects, other reads, and everything just starts running together. And that's what was happening. And I couldn't do it. I had to like step back and go, okay, this has to come out of this world, and these have to come out of this world, and this nope. And you just have to, and the people that were doing it successfully were basically writing in what I call mirror worlds. Is they were all writing in the same genre pretty much. And like one of the girls, the only difference is in one world she was writing aliens, in one world she was writing werewolves, in world she was writing bikers, but they were all the same character types, if that makes sense. Like literally, the even the dialogue between the characters was almost identical from the different books she was working on, and so she was basically writing the same. Oh, and dragons, and she had a dragon book, but her biker boss, her dragon lord, her werewolf alpha, and the alien overlord were all basically the same character. So
bleed, yeah.
that's the only way that I saw anyone successfully do it. but I couldn't do it. Because I just everything just started bleeding into one giant drug induced hallucination migraine. It's like when you're on medication for something and you're reading 3 or 4 books and they just turn into this one amalgamated.
No.
Yeah. Stew is good to eat, not so good for throwing everything in the pot. It makes good soup, but it's not good but not good for books.
Yeah. So back in the day when I used to do RPGs, I counted up one time and I was in 15 different games and I ran 53 different characters.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I had no life. And I know 3 of those games you could not go a day without posting. So yeah, it was a bit much. And I was running as a moderator 4 of those games. So yeah, I don't ever want to go back to that. But this month I'm getting close to working on 4 books. I might be working on 4 books this month, but I don't work on like 4 in a week. So this month I've already done, I finished Daughter of Blood Gold. I'm working on Isekai Detective, and I'm working on Nana Harem. So I might be reading Invasion as well. So, I mean, it might happen this month, but I doubt it. It'll probably just be the 3. And just because I don't have time or the brain power to do any more.
I have some fanfics that I have kind of abandoned. Should probably get back to.
Naruto fanfics.
Yeah, Freaky Greyman, Naruto, Rise of the Guardians, the Lorax. It was not one cest. Harry Potter and Bleach.
Yeah. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see, Janet says currently finishing 3 spin-off books, but they are shorter in nature and a little easier to juggle. Nice.
Yes, but are you writing all in the same world?
So sometimes when I start flagging just in my momentum in a book, I will start looking up different submissions that are open for flash fictions and short stories and see what the prompts are there and just start hammering out different stories and submitting them. And then by the time I'm done with 5 of those, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to work on this book right now.
Oh my gosh, these dogs. Okay.
I just had to let mine out of the room.
Hi, Connor. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl?
Oh, look at the spoiledness.
Yay, Roy.
Roy, Fangirl Nation. Woot woot.
And Dawn says we have a couple different worlds and multiple type characters, so we flip personalities a lot. Yeah. The 3 that I'm working on this month are completely different worlds. Isekai Detective and Nana's Harem can technically be the same world, but yeah. All right.
So we've got like the next generations for ours. So we have the main series that we work on, and then when we get to a point where we're like, okay, we got to take a brain break from that, or we hit a wall where we're like, we got to make a decision here. Then we'll flip over to like the future part of the series where we're using, next generation stuff and doing it that way. And sometimes doing that will actually trigger us to realize, this is what we need to do in the other books then. So it's kind of help out. But yeah, used to we would go from like the main series over into a fan fiction like Marvel fan fiction or Firefly or, whatever happened to be there. And that's fun. I kind of miss fan fiction. We still have our group. Nobody's using it because everybody got busy.
Understandable. All right. Do we want to hit up one more question, or do we want to leave off here and come back next time?
I can do another.
I can do another one. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm used to the tip tappy, so that's not a problem. Mine just happened to meandered into the other room. I think her nemesis showed up, one of the delivery guys.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hunter's right there with her. All right. So this
Is this my question?
I don't know.
I was going to ask the same thing. I don't think so.
Is there such a thing as too many B plots, and how much time do you dedicate to them?
So this is something that I'm dealing with right now with Crimson Strings. It's only 83K, but some beta readers pointed out that I am doing too many time skips of I need to show the development of the character and everything in between. And so when I add those, this is going to be massive. And I have threaded through so many subplots that are for book 2 and 3 that I have so many loose ends at the end that even though I wrap up the main plot of this book 1, it feels unsatisfying because there's so many loose ends. So I need to sort out and figure out which plots can be culled and waiting for book 2, which subplots can be merged together, and which ones I can add to the finale to tie up. So it's more satisfying with the culmination of not just the main save the mom, but get some comeuppance for some other characters too. So yeah, that was some feedback that I got from beta readers. I guess technically alpha readers because it's a draft 1, but yeah.
Well, what I was answering what Eva was talking about too. It's like screenplays are good for B plots. I'm like, and the thing is, in my brain, the way that I write scenes and therefore books is I'm seeing it play out in my head like a movie. And I don't mind the B plots because I'm basically doing the structure of a movie. So there's going to be several B plots because of the different characters. I think it's just really important to make sure that you're tying up those plots along the way. If it's a series or if it's one book, that you make sure that you've tied up your B plots. And like they said, make sure that you're giving all of them enough time for people to actually care about the characters, because there are 3. Dawn, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there were 3 other plots that we actually took out of the main series that we felt like, hey, it's a really good plot, yes, but does it contribute to the main plot? That's another thing, I guess, that you could do to decide whether or not to keep a B plot is, does it affect the main characters? Does it do anything for the main plot? So we actually took out 3 B plots, I'm pretty sure, that didn't actually have anything to do with the main characters or the plot, or it really, it could be done. It could be taken out and it wouldn't bother the plot, but we kept several still. We still have Largos because he became more important than we thought he was going to be. And we actually added the Telsekis extra plot line there later on.
I like this like the extra Talsikis plot because it adds a layer to the world that shows that the dark side, the criminal side. I mean, it's alluded to, but now that it's like it it becomes it becomes more overreaching in the realization of the corruption in Crimson
Hmm.
is actually related to this dark
Criminal
criminal society.
organization. Yeah.
Yeah, which I like the addition of the Talsikis thing. And Largos, somebody just needs to slap him in the back of the head.
They will.
I feel about him the way I feel about Bjorn in Jenna's series.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, I am all about the B plots. I just added 10,000 words to the Darkness of the Devourer, which is the next um, Relic of Time Wars. Um, because I was tying up several of the B plots that have been threading through the whole series. Because when you have a big series, you have book B plots and you have series B plots. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also realized that some of my B plots were feeling repetitive. Like some of my scenes where it's like, okay, we've already dealt with something similar to this, so combine them or cull. So things like that. Just make sure you're not treading the same ground.
Agreed. Because if you, even if you cull it, you could use it later in a newsletter or in, stuff like that. Bonus material.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Paste
Sorry,
it in another document and save it.
Yeah, for real. Because you can always add it to another book.
Keep those deleted scenes. Don't.
Yes.
I don't know what y'all talking about with B plots. I have no say in this.
You have any B plots at all? You never have B plots. No.
No.
You have no idea, Jenna. Or you may have ideas. Odd file names because you're like
So one of my beta readers actually listed out all of the antagonists and like deals that were made that they had to keep track of. There were 11 of them for just this one book. It's like 11 bad guys and stuff. It might be a bit too many for book one. We'll see.
might need to spread those out a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I.
But so many of them are connected to bad guys. Bad guys connected to bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to find his mom.
Or to find the chihuahuas in the forest.
No, they want to escape the chihuahuas in the forest because nobody wants to be the most illustrious and powerful King Prince Humperdinck's concubine.
No.
Yes, his name is Humperdinck.
I'm sure he does hump.
Oh, yes, he does. He even has a special humping pillow by his throne, which Winnie the Witch accidentally sits on.
We have got to have this.
Jenna, no. I have too many things to do. Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to have it.
I blame my stroke.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know if we should end it on that note or go for another
Please release a scream. Oh.
Oh gosh, are y'all good on time? Or yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
whichever you decide, I'm fine.
okay. So this one I yanked off of Reddit. Here we go. When deciding what publishing advice to follow, what parameters must the person have? AKA published in the last 5 years or have been a bestseller or something like that. What would you follow most?
Definitely somebody that's published something, as far as indie is concerned, somebody that's published successfully in the last few years. Because even in the last 3 years, things have changed so much. From when I first put the book, part of the reason that we did re-releases because when we first put the book out, there was a specific way of doing things. And now it's changed so much that I had to reformat the interior of my book. So, that's a big deal, especially when it comes to formatting, marketing, rules that you can do, not do. Then you had the AI come boom that just happened. So, the advice needs to be recent, from somebody that's been successful recently. And also, and they don't have to be a bestseller, not in my opinion. Just if they, how did, I've got this back here from, whoops, I just knocked things over. The Midlist Indie Author Mindset by T. Thorne Coyle. I mean, it's like you don't have to be a bestseller to give good advice. So you just have to be able to say, "Hey, I'm making this happen," and so therefore, I might have something that would be a great pointer for you, and that's what I look at.
I think I hold advice in higher regard if I have read the person's writing before and really enjoy it and hold it in high esteem. So, if they're giving writing advice on prose level or like things like that, it's like, okay, I got to see the proof in the pudding first to be able to be like, you know what you're talking about. Like I can jive. But for publishing advice, I would say they have to have at least published something or be able to show that they're like they've got the agent, they've got the book deal, and they're on their way. So like they're doing real-time updates on what they're learning through the process kind of thing. So yeah, they don't have to be a bestseller, but bestsellers are great to learn what they've learned on how to market things, stuff like that. So like they do have their place in learning from, but like also I don't follow beat sheets. I find them very formulaic in my brain and I just rebel. I just need a pants. And so like finding advice that helps, I don't know, like
It's really hard to follow. Like there's so many like indie published authors that are putting out publishing books or publishing help tricks and stuff, and they're not published. I know when I started getting into AuthorTube 8 years ago, 9 years ago, there were all these people in AuthorTube that were like had like writing degrees and publishing degrees, and they were giving out all this advice and telling everyone that Well, unless you have a degree or unless this was part of your minor studies or something, you don't have any business publishing. And and there was this whole educational gatekeeping mentality. And there were some very, very big channels and the host of these channels, and there were several of them together that were like, oh yes, and we're all going to be published, and we're all querying, and we're all submitting the path. And then like 5 years later, 2021, 2020, the 20s hit, and everyone's stranded at home, and AuthorTube blows up. And then within like 2 years after that, it was all this thing of all of these gatekeeper, you have to be educated, we're telling you how to publish, we're telling you how to edit, this is all the stuff. None of them had been picked up yet, and they were all basically forced either to not publish at all or to publish as an indie. And so when you're like taking advice, be very careful, because some of the people that are out there giving advice have never, yeah, they've been through the query trenches, but they've never been through the indie author trenches. They are people who have dropped as part of their study program. They've used grants to pay $5,000 or $10,000 for professional editors, for professional formatters, for professional cover designers. I create pictures and then run them through Leonardo AI as a filter to create my covers, because I do not have the artistic skill or the financing to buy professional covers. So, yeah, free advice is free for a reason, and it should always be carefully taken. Even the stuff from us, all of us here who are all indie published, everyone here has been through. I mean, I've queried, Laura's querying, uh, and that is a soul sucking process. It really is. It is a soul breaking process. And when you're indie publishing, the thing is there's always going to go, oh, you're an indie publisher. What a nice hobby you have.
When it comes to the nonfiction part too, I've noticed kind of so this is a different thing, but at the same time it relates, because so also don't take somebody's advice to work on your own stuff. How do I word this? Like, sometimes people are already famous or already very successful, already have a huge following, and they have the rabid fans who, if they released crap wrapped in a cover tomorrow, they would sell enough to pay for all their bills for the next few months. Mm-hmm. Because they have rabid fans. They already have all of this set up. So when they come out and they're like, hey, you need to do it this way because this is how, how to be successful. Because I've seen it happen when people move from the standard setups on platforms or blogs, and then they wind up going to Medium, and then they wind up going to Substack, and they're like, you could do this too. Look what I did. I am successful. Yeah, but you already had 500,000 followers. So you just basically told them to go there instead of stay here. So and it works that way also for some authors. You already have a big following of rabid fans. Of course they're going to buy your stuff. They love your work. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for everybody else who's just starting out, who doesn't have anybody, who doesn't have a website, who doesn't have a newsletter, doesn't have all those rabid fans. Mom and dad are the ones that are buying their book. It's a different thing. and there's still a lot of work to be put in to be able to do that. I respect when people actually, if they're teaching, like some people have courses that are very successful and they admit that up front. This may not work for you. This is a long-term deal. This is going to take a while.
Yeah.
At least they're honest about it, you know.
I had a friend who followed that. How does social media, your book writing process to guarantee that you have a huge downline, that you have a huge follower base when you put your book online, and be sure you publish a little snip from your book every single day, so everybody, by the time her book come out, everyone felt like they had read the whole book. She didn't sell any copies. She had paid a couple $100 for this influencer writer program, and all the advice that they gave her killed her book, because by the time she released her book, everyone had seen it for a year, and it's like, okay, been there, done that. And so, yeah, it's...
So I found AuthorTube in like 2007, 2008. And no, 2017, 2018. I can do math. So, and the first AuthorTuber I found was doing videos on plot embryos, and that way to outline. And I was like, that is super cool, and it's awesome. And she was an author working on her debut. She was on like draft 3 or 4 at the time. And she put together a course teaching how to do the plot embryo. And I was like, I should take that. Like, this is going to be my first book. I need to learn how I need to learn the ropes. And so I paid $1,000 for this course.
Oh, wow.
The author has never published. It's like, yes, the info was helpful. Was it $1,000 helpful? No. But, like, it's live and learn, but, like, vet the teachers of these courses that you're taking. Like, make sure that they have already walked the walk. Like, there's this whole debacle right now with micro bakeries and this person selling this course.
That's exactly what I was thinking about when you said that. Yeah.
It's like,
I don't know if anybody has not heard of that one, but that's perfect example.
That is an excellent example.
Like, have you walked the walk? Have you done your LLC if you're trying to teach about LLCs? Like, have you published a full series if you're trying to teach about how to do series arcs and everything? Like, just vet your teachers, make sure that they know what they're talking about and have done the work.
And definitely to look at more than one person, because one person's method may not be the method that works for you.
Right.
Exactly.
You know,
and, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I've gotten hate from a certain very popular group going around right now. And, you know, I feel the founder's backstory, having been through a child loss myself. I understand the appeal and stuff, but her system does not work for me at all. My brain can't wrap it. So.
Yeah. Also, along with the vetting kind of thing, if they have a team and they show that they and their team are doing the research to keep up to date, to keep giving you up to date stats and ideas and stuff like that, that is also a good person to get information from or advice from. The one that comes to mind always is Sarah Cannon or Heart Breathings, because she has a team around her and all of her courses, she updates them almost yearly with new stuff that's happening. So, yeah, just if you know somebody that has taken the course, ask them to see what they think of it. And yeah. Jenna says part of showing the mastery comes with being able to teach others to be fair. Yeah. However, that is only part of the entire pie. Let's see. Another part of the issue is most writing advice is very prescriptive, meaning you have to do it their way or it may or may not work for you. Yeah. And don't be afraid to take this piece of advice and that piece of advice and just create your own way of doing things. A lot of people do that.
Yeah, I've Frankensteined everything. Like I've taken both of the Sarah Cannon courses and I really appreciate them because they really got me on course. However, do I actually use exactly how she does it? No.
Mm-mm.
No. It doesn't work for me that way. But it took that to actually get me to where I was like, oh, okay, now I see what I need to do. And also gave me the confidence when it came to the publish and thrive part so that I could actually go in and go, okay, so I can do this myself. Because before that, I was like, should I hire somebody? I don't know anything about what I was doing. So in that case, that helped me out. But like Sam said, some of them, and yeah, and like Laura said, some of them they don't actually have they come across like they're experts. It's a confidence thing. It is, hey, I don't know if they mean to be a scam, so to speak, like what we were talking about with the micro bakery, but they definitely come across as very confident. They know what they're doing, and the next thing you know, you find out that they've not actually gone through everything that you're about to go through or have just gone through. So
Yeah.
be careful.
Well, it all falls back to the Thoreau thing.
Yeah.
Literally, it's go live in Walden Woods and write the great American novel. Like live alone by yourself and tough it out and write this great novel with your mom and two maids and a cook and a housekeeper coming. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's what your journey looks like is not going to be the same as anyone else's journey.
No, this right here. I forget what I was going to say. Oh, if they sound like a car salesman,
Yeah.
run the other way.
And there are tons of these people on Medium, by the way. So be aware. They will tell you that they've got the numbers, they know how to do it and everything, but you can learn for free. You can learn for free by just watching people who are actually successful on Medium. See what they do. See how they put their titles. See how they've formatted everything. See what works for them. Because, I mean, one of the publishers that I publish it all the time went against the grain for the most part. Like he actually even has F-bombs all through everything. He writes both satire and for real heartfelt stuff. And he doesn't I'm just like, and when we first start, when I first started with Medium, oh, you never do that. No, this has to be very professionally written. Well, tell me why he's got so many followers and he's making plenty of money. He doesn't even have to go out and get a side job right now. Because there was a niche for it. So,
Okay. Questions about the micro bakery scam is going on. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of free stuff on AuthorTube and like there's a bunch of us banded together to create the AWC a few years
yeah.
ago to share advice. There are interview systems going on, and um, it's there's a difference between those who want to legitimately help you and those who want to make a buck while they're helping you and those who just want to make a buck. And unfortunately, three um, those three things tend to bleed together over the internet because it's really hard to differentiate who is the good at, you could miss really good material just because somebody's not doesn't have flashy thumbnails or doesn't have a flashy manner of speaking or something, and you could get really bad advice from somebody who seems to be all in. So it's it's unfortunately there is a lot of stuff that needs to be weeded through. I know Laura did a, was it you, Laura, that did the my TBR, and you had a whole shelf of craft books that you
Yep.
haven't read yet?
Yep.
So yeah.
And on the flip side, like when people are offering you something and it seems it's actually a good deal, I have also had this happen wherein people have said, "Oh, well, you should offer that for free, period. There shouldn't be a cost to it at all." Well, a lot of times I do. But when it comes to, I've got certain pamphlets and certain electric stuff on my author's resources. A lot of the times when I put stuff up there and I put a price there, it is because I feel like, I've put hours of effort into compiling that. So I'm just basically asking you for a minimum donation,
Yeah,
at
you deserve
least.
to be paid
And
for
I
your work.
believe that that's fair. And I know that other authors are the same. And then there's sometimes when I just like hand stuff out, like, you need a checklist for an event? Sure, I've got one of those. Here, let me toss it at you. It just depends on the situation that we're in, if whether or not something's going to happen like that. I know Mama Maggie gives out stuff all the time, like the 30 questions and things like that to help the interview with the character. I've got that saved on my drive because I love
Oh,
it.
yeah, and it's 30 questions for role building, 30 questions for 30 question character interview, my 15 steps of editing things. I mean, does my system work for everyone? No, absolutely not, because I have the thing in my brain that just keeps pulsing and growing and nothing it does. So my brain does not work normally. So yeah, but there's it's it and there's nothing wrong with getting free advice that someone is willing to share, but it's a thing of always take the advice with a grain of salt. Always, and someone's one way might not work for you. So yeah, it's really a thing of the people who want to help you, the people who want to help you for a price, and the people who are trying to sell you something that looks like help.
So I was working on a Udemy course that I was going to launch, and then never finished it. And I was like, I should just post this for free on YouTube. Try and get my YouTube channel monetized. So I have 7 lessons on writing descriptive prose that are live on my channel. Um,
And they're very
I'm,
good.
thanks. It's supposed to be like 22 lessons, but life imploded. So right now there's just 7. But like I have videos on writing simple descriptions, writing through the character lens, interactive environment, hero descriptions, purple prose, and then writing with the senses. I've gone through sight and sound so far. So like they're free on there. Like there's a lot of free resources. I found out about Sasha Black and the Anatomy of Prose through her free interview that she had on iWriterly years ago, where she went over writing with the senses. And so I learned so much from that that I went and bought her book and then revolutionized my writing. But like I I had that litmus test of, okay, her writing advice works for me, and it's presented in a way that my brain can process well, and I just went for it. So yeah, like, look for interviews with people, look for people who just have overviews of what they know, and if they're selling a book, they should have pieces of it available for free for you to see what it's actually about first before just blindly buying a copy.
And we've all fallen into that newsletter rabbit hole where we've been signed up for literally hundreds of newsletters for writing advice. And you get like one paragraph of pseudo advice, and then the rest of it is just, if you buy this course, if you buy this document, if you do this, if you do that. And it's like,
Unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe.
so much unsubscribing.
And the free stuff is another way that you can vet somebody before you purchase a course if you want to purchase their course. Because if the free stuff helps you, more likely the course is too. But like everybody is saying, there are plenty of freebies out there, and yeah.
Yeah, because that's like I can't afford all those courses. So it's even if the freebie part helps. But what I'm doing is I've got an entire notebook over here where I collect notes from different podcasts or different when they have those special the live presentations. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, they're going to try to sell me something on the end of this. However, I'll take notes. Those will help out. I'll get the first part for free, but I literally can't afford, all of those. Sorry, guys.
Well,
this is not going to happen.
2 or 3 romance writers week, or they'll have fantasy science fiction writers week, or they'll have horror writers week, and they're great events to just, you have to watch the thing is that they're a time commitment because you have to watch them live because they are not available on the replay, because you have to pay to join their writing community as a member to get them on the replay. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If you can hit one of these events and some of these seminars, absolutely do it, because there's so much helpful things. The Neurodivergent Writers Conference is another like great resource, which you have to pay to attend the conference live, but the older archived things are available.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like, and if you don't want, like, if you feel bad because they put all the work in and stuff, a lot of people have Patreon, they have Ko-fi. You can throw them a small donation with a note, I saw you on this thing, this free conference, or this replay of this conference, something last year, the year before, and the advice really helped me. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's, it's expensive to have that author life. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have taken courses through the Horror Writers Association where you pay the fee and then you have access to it indefinitely. But it is live when it starts, and so you can get your questions answered, which is nice. There are some courses where, like, for me, a lot of courses are just regurgitated info that they have found already. So technically you could find it all yourself. It's just all together in one place. So it's trading out time for money. So you can either spend the time or you can spend the money. But what works for me best, that makes me be like, okay, this might be worth it, is if you get personalized feedback on your writing. Like, for me, that would be worth it, to have somebody actually sit down, go through, critique your writing. And I have found that through I actually found it through an author tuber who has been published in many, many anthologies and magazines and actually shortlisted for awards and stuff. And if you pay him, he will do a deep critique on your short story for you. And so that was more helpful for me than a course. So you can either spend it on critiquing, you can spend it on editing, you can spend it on coursework. There's a million ways to spend money, but like find out what works best for you. And if you have no money like me right now, just spend the time. You are spending your time finding the stuff yourself.
Eva.
Yeah, the whole writing guild thing. Yeah. I know Charlotte has one. If anybody else is around the Charlotte area, I think I saw where Raleigh had one too. Raleigh Durham area.
There's
I know Atlanta has 3.
there's a national guild, the Independent Writers Association, but it's like $90 to $150 a year to join, depending on what level you join at. There's also the Writers Guild of America, which is also you pay to join them. You pay a membership fee for their services.
I was in the fantasy sci-fi group in Toronto, which had the subsection of the Dark Writers group for a horror. And so we had a Discord, we would have meetings where we would read over each other's work and do live critiques, and also have meetups at certain pubs and stuff, and hand out our paper printed work and write out stuff on it. And that was all completely free, and that was on Discord. And then now that I'm down here in San Diego, there is a offshoot of what used to be the Nano Discord group that is now the San Diego Writers Group, and they have online write-ins and meetups in pubs and stuff for free down here. So check out your local groups. There are a lot of free ones. A lot of them have Discords where you don't even have to leave your house. So
yeah, Discord has kind of become the new meetup, the new and improved meetup. I first started going to writing groups, I used Meetup to find people.
Yeah.
So
that's how I found about Dark Writers Association. So yeah, Meetup, but now mostly Discord.
And every now and then your local library will have like writers groups and stuff like that. So check that out too. Okay. There is one more question, but I think we went over it before. Do y'all want to go over it? Because I'm probably going to post it up and run away.
45. Well, yeah, we've got 15 minutes. If it's something we can do in 15 minutes.
I think we can, because like I said, I think it's somewhat that we kind of went over before. How many ideas?
Ooh.
I'm going to run away. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
Coward.
Eva says 2. Eva, no.
I can't even answer this question.
So I don't even know how many ideas I've got floating around. So
I wrote mine down in the back of my journal. I need to update it. But this was currently all of my whips, excluding sequels, and the horror collections I want to write, and the short stories I want to write, and my fan fictions. So like I was at 31, now I'm at like 33, but but that excludes that some of them are 5-book series, and so yeah, just
you do not see all the notebooks behind me.
Sometimes I think the amount of ideas when it's too many is when you feel overwhelmed and that you get decision paralysis and it just stunts your momentum and you hit a wall. Ideas are supposed to spark joy and get you excited about the stories. And what happened to me was when I felt bogged down, like I have so many started and not finished that I feel overwhelmed. I took a sticky note and wrote down every whip that I was currently in and just started working through my list and checking them off. Like, okay, this short story's done. This short story's done. This short story done now. And so just checking them off got me a huge dopamine hit and was like, I can finish things. I can do hard things. So making lists that you can check off is nice. I also started my ADHD meds when I did that, and that was miraculous. So that helped me finish a short story I've been stuck on for 2 years. But yeah, so just don't worry about it unless it becomes so overwhelming that you get paralysis.
Yeah.
Agreed, because I've got 20 years sitting here, 20 years plus of writing sitting here. As far as current ideas that we could work on, that we are working on right now, 18. And that's just between me and Dawn. And that's not counting the ideas that we get while we're writing these that we write notes about, and the other, 20 years worth of stuff that we haven't got to yet. And I've also agreed to help out and co-author something with the Hubs at the end of the year. I've got another friend who is a writer who we have 2, maybe 3 book series underway that, whenever we have time and the state of mind to do it, it is a kind of a paranormal romance based in the Gulf Coast. And I mean, that's still not counting nonfiction. That's still not counting some of the ideas I have on the side. I've got like paranormal romance, urban fantasy. I've got don't limit. Sure, you can't work on all of them at the same time. We've already covered that on a question earlier, but don't limit yourself as far as thinking that you have a limit on ideas. Just write them down and then come back to them.
Yeah, I have an author friend who stopped counting in the 90s what their number of whips were. They're like, yeah, she didn't want to overwhelm herself, so.
So I have 118 that are in 2 different folders. One is the folder is to be written sooner, projects for 2025, 2026, 2027. And I have another folder that's just called Story Seeds. And that's not counting the ones that I haven't typed in yet.
So, for all of y'all throwing shade, Maggie has me beat.
But not by much.
So, the stories, the ideas that I know are going to become novels, and that I have at least a loose outline or a chapter written, numbers to 64 now. Last year it was at 58. The beginning of the year it jumped to 62, and since this week it's jumped to 64. So yeah, that's not counting the short story ideas that I kind of want to do, because I usually try to save those for like the writing battles that I join and try to like fit them in there so that I won't write novels on those ideas too. Angel has 21. 18 is the number of novels. I actually have folders for that are ready to hop into, but we have 20 years worth of stories to play with beyond that. Yes. Yes. Eva says 1 at a time is nice and neat. 8 ideas. And then we jump into the now there's a limit. Yeah.
It fits on one hand.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Introvert, and you
The
pretty
one
much
of them
have
I asked him. It led to one date, and that was it.
yeah. Let's see. Eva has 3. Dawn says, yeah, and then we each have our own stuff on the side. I have 7 or 8 for my horror ones that I work on. Keeps jumping. Hold on. Mel, aka CAG, is for me. It's 3, just because they're huge worlds. Yes, they are. Do 2 folders maybe. Heather says, oh, she's about the crit group that she might do at her library. Thought about having a sci-fi fantasy focus. That would be.
Somebody contacted me from New Bern saying that they have got a writers group up there, and it's a long drive. I'm kind of stuck here where it's a long drive no matter which one I go to, Wilmington or New Bern. So
Same.
I'm just kind of like, well, I'll have to see.
Avoid Wilmywood like the plague.
Yeah.
It's just the new construction.
Oh gosh, yes. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, the roads are absolutely horrible now.
But now 17, they've almost finished, so that part's easier. But yeah, they're doing downtown. Last time I was down there, and it was rough.
College, with all the new suburbs and stuff going up, and like beyond that,
Yeah.
no.
For those of you that don't know, basically our main interstate, I-40, runs from the mountains all the way to the ocean, and it turns into this college University Boulevard, I think is what it's called, and it goes directly past UNC Wilmington, and they're starting to put suburbia all around through there and everything. This is also the main trek to the beaches, so yeah, you can imagine.
Yeah, during the summer, it's awesome to have somebody that lives there actually show you the side roads.
Yep. I had to find those on my own.
Yeah. All right. So that is the last question we had. We covered a lot of them today, which is awesome. Thank you guys for staying over.
I've gotten used to a 2-hour format. I don't know about the rest of you, but that's been lately a lot of the stuff's been 2 hours. So
I'm used to 3-hour streams. So
there you go.
Okay. So for those of you in the chat and watching the replay, there is a form in the description box that you can fill out if you have questions. Otherwise, just leave them in the comments and we'll get to them next time. So let's go ahead and do our outros. Rach, you want to start, then Maggie, and then Laura?
Sure. So I am Rach for all of you author tubers and authors out there. I am Rachel D. Adams as an author and co-author. Right now, Dawn and I have an urban fantasy series called the Dragon Tasker series and a paranormal romance historical fantasy series called The Life and Loves of a Dragon. So if you want to check some of that stuff out, my website's available, racheldadams.com. And if you want more advice, just practical advice, not an expert here, but I can help out. I have a Substack called Aggressively Helpful Writing Advice.
Yes.
Hello, lovelies, or goodbye, lovelies. Mama Maggie Ward here, independent author, stroke survivor, and migraine overcomer. I have books under MM Ward on Amazon. I am up to 40 with the 2 pre-sales that are now up for the next Pagosa Cliffs and Enemies and Pagosa Stars books. that brings me up to 40 published books plus the 5 anthologies I'm in. Yeah, I have lots of advice that I say please take with a grain of salt and a spoon of sugar because no nothing. I have brain damage from a stroke and I started writing to relearn language after my stroke. So all of my advice is basically for my bad brain. So yeah. Um, I think today is the last day that Red Velvet and Anemones is 99 cents. So if you're looking for the first book in the Pagosa Cliffs series, you can stop over on my Amazon page and pick it up. Other than that, yeah, I am Penumbra Mine MM Ward on all social media and Substack.
I am Laura Nettles, author of this one, querying this one, revising this one. Yeah. So, and yeah, I will be on Nia Vixen a Fiction stream Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And I have a video going live tomorrow morning where I go over my beta reader feedback from this bad boy. And I can't remember how long it is. Let me see. The video is, let's see. No, wrong tab. Oh my gosh! 40 minutes and 1 second long.
Wow.
Going over beta reader feedback. So, yeah.
Very nice.
Keep an eyeball out.
All right. I am writer Sam Wicker. Thank you for joining us for Breaking the Block. I have 3 books published right now. I Am No Hero, which is a beast. It'll make a hero out of you if you hit somebody over the head with it. And Capture the Empress, which is a erotica thing. And The Belle Earth Witch, which is somewhat set in my hometown. And yeah, I will have a video going up today that talks about the projects that I'm hoping to publish this year, just a little bit about them so you can look forward to them and kind of keep me accountable. And we will be, some of us will be on with Jenna at 6 p.m. Eastern with talking about romance things. Brain just went bye-bye. Sorry. All right. So we will see y'all next Sunday right here at 10 a.m. Unless life be lifing. And have a good day. Bye.
Bye.